Banjo Kazooie is dead. Like, really dead. For Banjo fans such as myself, you have to ask yourself, how has Microsoft let him molder in the grave for this long? It seems like everywhere you look, fans of old IPs are getting their remakes and their sequels. Crash and Spyro fans got it better than us. Croc fans have it better than us. Gex fans have it better than us.
Were you expecting someone else?
And even Bubsy fans have got it better than us right now. I don't think the non-fans realize it has practically been 25 years since a mainline Banjo game. 25! That's a quarter of a century. And I'm not counting nuts and bolts. Even Greg Mails talked about how it was a radical departure. But let's not forget who Rare was in the 90s. I mean, you had GoldenEye, Donkey Kong Country, Conker, Perfect Dark, Battletoads, Killer Instinct, and of course, The Bear and the Bird. Nintendo had a hit studio on their hands with Rare during those days. Some people say Banjo is a boomer character that no one cares about anymore. But you guys don't realize just how big Banjo was back in the day. I mean, look at the N64 box. He's sharing a spotlight next to Donkey Kong, Pikachu, and Mario. This is how Nintendo was marketing their console, literally sharing a pedestal with their most recognizable mascots. Everyone knew who Banjo was back then. What I'm trying to say is there's a reason the elderly remember him.
You'll play when my turn's over.
But you've been playing for 62 years.
That's why when Microsoft bought Rare, it was such a big deal. This felt like such a big blow to Nintendo's future catalog, and obviously was meant to bolster Microsoft's own. Weirdly enough, that's when Rare seemed to really switch gears into releasing stuff like Grabbed by the Ghoulies and Cameo. It was clear that Rare wasn't transitioning very well to the new hardware and their new publishing partner with Microsoft. But that promise of a return to form was on the horizon. A true blue brand new Banjo Kazooie game. It was teased by Gruntilda at the end of Banjo Tooie that she would get her revenge in Banjo 3E. Oh, but how long we waited for any movement on this title. We went an entire generation of consoles without any real news on Banjo. But then Exo 6 rolled around in November of 2006. We finally, after waiting 6 years, got our first real look at Banjo's grand return. And well, is that him? Well, at least he's coming back, I guess. He looks a little more Minecrafty than I remember. Was that supposed to be it? Banjo 3? Okay, well, let's give it a few more years, I guess. And a few years we gave it until Nuts and Bolts released. Now, I could go on and talk about what this game is and what it isn't, but suffice it to say, it was not the game fans were hoping for. It was not a true mainline game. It had sandbox, cart building elements, and just in general was a bizarre turn from what we had all hoped for. I mean, you guys all know it. I know it. Do I really have to break out the JonTron video from 2012? Wait, 2012? That means... oh no. It has been the same amount of time since JonTron's video release to now as it has been since Banjo Tooie released to when his video was first posted. That's right, 12 years and some change.
Holy shit! We'll always love you. I can't believe you did this to me, goddammit! How could you do this to me?
Unfortunately, no new mainline entry has released since Banjo Tooie came out in 2000. And let me put this in perspective for you a little bit. We've been waiting longer for a true sequel to Banjo Tooie than Half-Life fans have been waiting for Half-Life 3. 4 years longer. Kingdom Hearts fans think they had it bad when waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3? What if I told you the entirety of the Kingdom Hearts franchise has come about in the same period Banjo fans have been waiting for a new mainline game? If you were a Metroid fan waiting for the sequel to Fusion, Well, both Fusion and Dread have released in the same waiting period, not to mention the entirety of the Prime series, with time to spare. I mean, people are so desperate they made Yooka-Laylee. But we all know, it's just not the same. No one wants to play as Turbo the Chinchilla when they could be playing as Sonic the Hedgehog. Needless to say, Banjo fans have had it bad. Not to mention there always seems to be some rumor floating around from a leaker or insider teasing us about a new game being in development, and every time it seems to die. Currently, notorious insider Nate Drake has been claiming that a game has been in development, while Jez Corden has claimed otherwise. Phil Spencer has gone on record talking about how they need a studio that's the right fit to take on the IP. You'd think that studio would be Rare, but they seemingly have no interest in dwelling on their past. They have long since abandoned their child. But I'm sure Treasure Trove Cove will show up as Sea of Thieves DLC or something. It feels like Banjo is lying there, bleeding out, with a knife stabbed in his chest, and nobody wants to call him an ambulance. So they just do what they can and cover up his body, hoping people will forget. Funny enough, despite not owning the IP anymore, Nintendo seems to care more about Banjo than Microsoft does. That's why his return to Smash was such a big deal. The first return to his classic look since the N64 games. And it was weirdly melancholic to see it revived and rejuvenated, as well as Spiral Mountain to be back, only to know that they would be bound to, well, just this. But at least Nintendo gave us hope. Phil, it's obvious you have a studio that would be the perfect fit to bring Banjo back. All you have to do is just roll Banjo's body onto Nintendo's lawn. We're begging you! And it's not like Rare would even care. I mean, between 97 and 99, Rare put out 9 games, including Banjo, Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye, and Jet Force Gemini. In the past 15 years, Rare has put out 5 that they have actually developed. 3 of those were Kinect games, and 1 of those was just Rare Replay. I'm sorry. It just baffles me how Microsoft for years has been struggling to build iconic mascot characters and brands outside of the Halo and Gears of War franchise. And you literally have a former Nintendo mascot right there! But no. I'm sure modern audiences are just dying for a new gun-toting, armor-clad face for Xbox to rally around. Just imagine for a second if any other company did this. Imagine if Nintendo just killed Mario, if Sega killed Sonic, if Ubisoft killed Rayman. Okay, bad comparison, but let's just go back to Sega for a second. Just imagine for a second if after the jump from the huge success that Sega had with Sonic in the Genesis era, they jumped to the Saturn, released Knuckles Chaotix, saw the poor reception, and then just decided to never release a Sonic game after that. That's essentially what happened to Banjo. He's 6 feet under. No, he's 12 feet under. Despite the perfect opportunity to revive him after his appearance in Smash. I mean, you all saw the reception, and while I don't absolutely need a sequel, I'd take a remake in the style of Crash and Spyro. My dream would be 3. But the longer time goes by, the less it feels like we will ever see it. Mark my words. We will get Half-Life 3 before Banjo 3. At this point, I'd be willing to wager we'd get Portal 3, Team Fortress 3, and Left 4 Dead 3 before Banjo 3. What must we sacrifice? What will it take to get Banjo out of the hands of Microsoft? At least give these two a dignified send-off before you decide to let them into the ether. I know that sometimes franchises just die naturally, but this feels like a hit job. This is what our tax dollars should go towards solving. Anyhow, Banjo is dead, and the earth continues to spin. Wake up, Banjo! Wake up! I just want to hear you say it! Gah! 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 Yeah, he's dead.
Banjo? Kazooie? We're home.